Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. Today on the podcast, I am sharing my own journey of being alcohol-free for about 2 years, why I did it, why it is an act of self-love for me, and just have an open conversation about alcohol. I think we need to talk about it.
My name is Katie Allen, and this is Self-Love Ignited. Let's get to it.
Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. Today, I am talking about my own journey being alcohol-free for the last 2-ish years. And this is a topic I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I have alluded to it a few times here and there, but it is something that is near and dear to my heart, that has changed my life, and that may not be permanent. So I wanted to just have a personal share, because I know that there will be many of you who identify with this or who want to have a conversation about it. Now, my own personal reasons for doing this, there were 3 distinct reasons why I chose to give up alcohol, and I'm going to go through each of them so that you understand my journey. But before I do that, I really just want to say, this is my journey. This does not have to be yours. Okay, this choice that I have made to not consume any alcohol is a personal one. And it doesn't mean what's right for me doesn't have to be right for you. So if you are listening and you're going, oh, maybe I should do that too, simply because she did it, that's not the intention behind this. All right. You are absolutely encouraged to make your own decisions and choose what's right for you. I simply want to have a conversation to show you that it is a choice. I have seen too often that it's so normalized to use alcohol as a coping mechanism. And one of the reasons that I chose not to, it's part of it. And I simply want to have a conversation that tells you that if you don't want to, if it does not feel like it's right for you, if it feels like it's doing more harm than good, you can choose differently. So why did I choose to give up alcohol? Like I said, 3 distinct reasons. Reason number 1 is my own health, my physical health. And essentially 6 years ago, I believe it was 6 years ago, it may have been 7 years ago, 2015, 2016, I was hospitalized for about 6 weeks. Now, I was having severe abdominal pain. I was living in Australia at the time, came back to visit family in Canada. While I was in Canada, had a fever for 3 weeks, had crazy pain, ended up in the emergency room and was admitted to hospital. They found that I had abscesses inside my liver, what they thought were abscesses inside of my liver. I had 3 of them. They were about the size of tennis balls. One was about the size of a grapefruit. My liver was actually physically protruding out from underneath my rib cage. Nobody knew why. They were doing blood tests and scans. Eventually, we figured out that it was a parasite that I'd picked up when I was in Bali the year before, and it ended up being the easiest treatment in the world. It was like 2 little pills, and that was it. But what happened, because I had this parasite in me for so long, is that a lot of damage was done to my body, to my liver specifically. I had a liver, there is a test that they can do on your liver that tests how hard it is, essentially. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but my understanding is it tests how hard it is. It tests how rigid it is, which shows how well it's working. And essentially, when you have an alcoholic who is going through liver cirrhosis, their liver gets really, really hard. It's no longer elastic. My liver was at that point. It was no longer elastic. It was really, really hard. And I was essentially told by doctors, for the rest of my life, I am going to be at an advanced risk for liver cancer, which is one of the scary, scary ones. Not that all cancer is not scary, but I've had many family members be diagnosed with cancer, some recover, go into remission, some not recover. So that's a scary word, right? So I was told that, and for about a year after being discharged from hospital, I was still having pain. Almost every day I was having liver pain, like pain in my abdomen. It was the right side, just at the bottom of my rib cage. And I could very easily tell when I ate something or drank something that my body didn't like, my pain would flare up. So I became acutely aware of my body, how what I put into it caused an immediate reaction, an immediate pain reaction or not. So ironically, I didn't really drink much that first year after coming out of the hospital, but then I did. I went back to it because it is so normalized. But a couple of years ago, I got to the point where I couldn't do that anymore. I didn't want to harm my body in that way. I wanted to be really intentional about not putting toxins in. So that is the first reason that I chose to give up alcohol, was my physical health. The second reason, which is quite honestly the main one, is that for about 5.5 years, I was in a relationship with an absolutely wonderful man who was an alcoholic. Now he actually passed away a few months ago. I have talked about this on other episodes. But he passed away from alcoholism. It was a direct result of drinking, a lifetime of drinking, a lifetime of overindulging. And the last few years of his life, it snowballed into this massive thing. And when you are every single day, when you are a witness to somebody struggling with addiction, struggling with a dependency on a substance, needless to say, that substance stops becoming a source of fun and it starts being essentially toxic. So in my own brain, essentially what happened is I stopped seeing alcohol as something enjoyable, something that I could have, a glass of wine with dinner. It stopped being like a party thing, a fun thing. And it's not that I'm a partier, but it essentially, it started being this thing that is damaging somebody I love. It started being this thing that is taking away this person that I love. Now, is it healthy that I have completely just cut it out because I've made it something bad? Probably not. And, that's one reason why I said at the beginning of this episode, I am about 2 years sober. I don't know the exact date. I know that it was February of 2020. So I'm about 2 years sober, which is the entire pandemic, actually, I just realized. Am I going to have alcohol again in the future? Maybe. Part of me would really like to be able to enjoy a glass of wine with dinner, be able to go, wine tasting on the weekend, be able to be at a barbecue and have a beer simply because I want one. Part of me would like that. I am currently not at a place where that is an option within myself. So I am embracing where I'm at. I'm embracing my truth in this moment and not pushing myself. And just knowing that right now, seeing what I have seen, going through the loss that I have gone through this last year, seeing alcoholism up close and personal. I mean, I also know people who were alcoholics for many years and who are in recovery and doing amazing, and they've gotten their lives back. And I know people who are struggling with it right now. And I know somebody who passed away as a direct result of it. So I feel like I've seen all sides of addiction, and not that I've ever been addicted, but it just, any positive connection that I had with alcohol in my life has gone. So that is without a doubt the main reason. I couldn't have a glass of wine with dinner. I couldn't have a drink and enjoy it while watching somebody else have a drink to their detriment. I couldn't do it. The two could not go together in my head. So that is the second reason. And the third reason is because I want to be really intentional about who I am being. And what I mean by this is that a couple of years back, I realized that, I'm not perfect. I'm human. I have made lots of mistakes, as have all of us in our own way, right? And what I realized was that every time I had ever really, really hurt somebody, said something that was really hurtful, damaged a relationship, done something to somebody that I later regretted or wished that I could change. Every single time, without fail, alcohol had been involved. And I didn't want to be that person. I am not that person. I am not the kind of person, and I hope that you can sort of you can feel that. I am not the kind of person who wants to hurt people. I am not the kind of person who wants to be negative, wants to harm other people, wants to bring relationships down. That's not who I am. What I realized was that when I had this substance, alcohol, in my body, it made me that person. It took away any barriers that I had between who I really am and that person, and it made me act out, right? It took away all my inhibitions. And we all know that alcohol does this. That's also why it can be fun and we can like let loose and have a good time. But along with that comes the chance of hurting somebody, right? And I didn't want to be that person. So by being really clear about who I am and who I want to be, truthful, honest, respectful, I want to be in integrity. I want people around me to be uplifted. I want people I'm in relationships with, whether romantic relationships, friendships, whatever it happens to be, I want them to feel better after an interaction with me. And that is a really something I'm very clear about within myself. And I realized that alcohol wasn't doing that. It was doing the complete opposite. So that is the third reason that I chose to stop drinking. And like I said before, does this mean that I'm never going to drink again? I don't know. Quite honestly, I don't know. Part of me would like to be able to, and part of me is saying, not going to happen. So, you know what? Let's check in a year. Let's check in 2 years, see where we are. But all I know is that this is my truth today. This is my truth right now. So I share this with you simply because, especially with the pandemic, especially the last couple of years, there has been so much normalization of have a glass of wine to calm down, have a glass of wine to like lower your anxiety or soothe your nerves or to get a good night's sleep. Have a couple of drinks here, do this, do this. And I have just seen an explosion of the normalization of using alcohol for something better than just enjoying it. I've seen the normalization of essentially alcoholism. Alcoholism is a dependency on this substance, right? It's not being able to do something without it. And I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that on a personal level. I have seen the effects of that. I have seen people struggle, suffer, die from that. And I'm not okay with that. So I just want to have a conversation about it and really tell you that if you have been suspecting that maybe your alcohol consumption isn't healthy, if part of you has been wanting to cut back, wanting to do something else, if you feel like it's not serving you anymore, or like you want something else, something that's going to lift you up instead, that you can do that, right? You can do that. Now, I am not an addiction specialist. I am not a therapist. I have been to my share of AA meetings in support of my partner. I have spoken to my share of doctors and read a whole lot about addiction, but this is not my area of specialty. That being said, I am definitely always happy to talk to you about it, and do my best to help you get the help that you need if that is something that is on your heart and on your mind. If you need help, it's there. If you want help, it's there. If you are curious about life without alcohol, it's there. It's here. And I am proof that you don't have to be an addict to give it up. And that life without alcohol, parties without alcohol, Christmas dinners without alcohol can be absolutely wonderful, right? It is not the substance that makes your life. It should be, if you choose to indulge, it should be an addition. It shouldn't be the point, basically. And last but not least, the third point that I said before, which is, who I am and wanting to be in integrity with who I am and be really intentional about who I am. To me, that is part of self-love, right? Self-love is seeing all parts of you. Self-love, for me, part of it is seeing those, what some people may call the shadow parts or the dark parts, the parts of me that when I lose my inhibitions, I can say hurtful things. I can do hurtful things. Those elements are within myself. I'm not rejecting them. I am simply choosing to embrace the loving side more. So doing this for me is an act of self-love because it is honoring who I truly am and who I truly want to be in this world. It's not punishing myself. This does not feel like a punishment. This is not, there's no like diet mentality kind of thing, like an all or nothing kind of thing. That's not what this is for me. I don't feel like I'm missing out. I don't feel deprived. I feel like my life is better. My life is brighter. I am more hopeful. I am more aware. I am more present because of this choice. This is a loving choice for me in this situation. So if you're curious, if you want to continue this conversation, if you feel like this is something that you want in your life, you can do it. Okay, you can do it. And if you want somebody to speak to, if you want to have a conversation about it, if you just want an ear, if you would like to be referred to somebody, let me know. All right, I'm going to make sure that my email is in the show notes below this video. And if you feel called, please reach out, email me. Let's have a conversation. You are not in this alone. And alcohol doesn't have to even be a thing. It doesn't even have to be a thing in your life. That's it for me today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching and listening. I really appreciate you. I hope that you have a beautiful day.